everybody. This is Joshua Hatton with One Nation Under Whiskey, extra edition. I'm joined today, and as always, by my good friend, my business partner, the whiskey sniffer, Mr. Jason Neal, Patrick Harris, Johnston Yellen. How are you, Jason?
I'm well. It's nice to be sitting with a little spot of whiskey this first day of fall, as we record, not as we launch.
Ah, that's right. Oh, is it yeah, that's right. Today's the first day of fall, which it's quite cold. Like, it's the first official day of fall, unlike some people who write in claiming it to be the official day of fall.
So I have my hat on. I have my hoodie on. I have a T-shirt on that says "Whiskey Weather," and I have to tell you, it is only 80 degrees Fahrenheit, 27 centigrade outside. Like, I've got a stew on the stove as we record. I'm leaning into the first day of fall. Unfortunately, the weather isn't, but leaves are falling from trees, so it must be fall.
Yeah, exactly.
It must be. That's where we are. And I've got whiskey, so it must be fall.
I'm getting ready for Rosh Hashanah.
That's it. We're also recording a Rev Rosh Hashanah, the new Jewish New Year's Eve.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a special dish that you make? Do you do anything that's your go-to dish?
No. For years, Safta, my mother-in-law, used to send us her homemade honey cake. That was the part to look forward to. And now she sends us a very kind care package from Live Breads, owned within the family as well. And so we've got apple cake, we've got honey cake, we've got a chocolate babka, we've got a celebratory Rosh Hashanah circular challah. So, yeah, I need to get cooking to fill in the gaps round about that care package.
Yes, you do.
So you have a go-to dish?
Yeah, we do. I would say we're lazy. We're not really lazy. Like, it's a kugel, but it's like my great grandmother's kugel.
Nice. Very nice.
Right? Which is just a nice family tradition, and there's nothing super special about it, but it's just a nice family recipe that's passed down. Egg noodles and raisins.
Is it fruit? Fruit as opposed to savory.
Yeah. It's not the savory. I don't like the savory. Normally, I prefer savory dishes, but when it comes to kugel, it's got to be the sweet one.
There you go. Yeah, it's all the wishes for the sweet new year. We'll also have our apples and honey ready to go as well. So, to those who celebrate, L'Shana Tova.
Indeed.
May this be a sweet new year for you. And as we say most years, and if it's not the Jewish New Year for you, happy fall. Enjoy fall. Hope it's a good fall for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall.
Great fall. He didn't see Christmas or Hanukkah that year, but he had a great fall.
He had a really great fall.
All right, I've got something pleasingly oily in my glass for people who have read The Masthead or received a notification about this episode going live. They will likely know that we are tasting Waiheke this day from Waiheke Island in New Zealand. There we go. Those watching along will get to see that scroll. Look at that flawless scroll.
Look at that,
this
right?
This is like watching the Death Star in Star Wars. If only George Lucas was actually holding it and panning it past the camera. And not quite getting it fully off screen before turning it around. That was a little more like something from Spaceballs.
So huge thanks to Mark Izzard and team from Waiheke Distillery for sending us a 4-pack of samples. This isn't the first time they sent us some samples, but this is the first time we're tasting.
It's the first time Jason's received samples.
Oh, that's right.
When we recorded the episode, you had samples and I did not.
Oh, they were so delicious, Jason. They were so good.
Which episode was that?
That was season 6, episode 25. Let me double
Okay.
check that.
Okay.
I used to be confident in numbers. I just want to double check, right? I don't want to be overly confident in
Yeah,
numbers
I
here.
know we
But yeah,
dropped it in a January. I just, which year did we drop that?
there you go. It was 25th of January, 2023, and it was season 6, episode 25.
Good grief.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Time passed. In fact, it was so long ago. Our good friend Colin Mayers, the
Oh, yeah, the
pluralized
plural.
Mayers, he was with the distillery at the time. He's since left and he's doing travel tourism.
Ah, yes, I remember
Yeah,
that
yeah,
from back in
yeah,
the days. He was doing that before
mhm,
he spent any time with Waiheke.
yeah, yeah. Now that doesn't mean he's just traveling around touring things. I think he's helping to tour people around. So what's in our glass, Jason? Let's talk about this. We've got their Cirrus 2, which back in that first episode, I think we tasted their Cirrus 1. So this is,
Did we?
I don't know, man. Jason, that was 2 years ago.
I can tell you for a fact I didn't taste it. I was just observing your use of the we in that. It was a
Yeah.
lovely interview. Lovely people to spend time with.
Yeah. Super lovely people. And I want to talk about their stills in a little bit, but first let's talk about the whiskey at hand. And I want to show people. Of course, our listeners can't see this, but our viewers can see this. We got this tasting mat that came with the whiskeys. Now we did receive 4 whiskeys, 3 of which um, 3 of which are represented on the sheet. The 4th whiskey is actually not on this sheet, but viewers can see there is some serious detail on here. And what we're tasting right now is the Cirrus 2. And it was distilled in 2018, bottled in 2024. And I'm going to go straight down this, right? 2 different cask types, STR American Oak and Apera Sherry, which is basically, it's not sherry produced in Spain. It's sherry produced outside of Spain. So technically, you can't call it sherry. A very specific yeast, DV18 Saccharoviza, something like that.
Saccharomyces.
Saccharomyces. How'd you know that, Jason?
Because
You're good.
I'm not going to answer the question how I know that.
Okay. All right. And then, oh my God, my eyes don't work here. And then it goes over the wort, the SG wort, 1.849. Then the wash ABV, 7.7% alcohol, fermentation 5 days. It gives you the spirit ABV, right? Which 74.8, and then 58.3, for your different stills. Pretty amazing.
So,
And then
so that spirit cut that they just put in there, like
yeah,
I would pay real money for distilleries to put that on their label. Like
right.
the fact that they turn on the spirit cut, it's 74.8% alcohol, and then turn off the spirit cut at 58.3. Like
Yeah.
I'm here for that information all day long. Like, and then it starts to tell you, what kind of qualities, just like our recent episode with you and Morgan when we talked Glenlish, right?
Mm,
It lets you know, are you going to get lighter fruity notes? Are you going to get heavier notes? Are you going to get an oiliness? Like thinking of our friends over at Kilhoman, like making a
yeah.
very specific cut to increase the oiliness of the
Yeah.
spirit.
Yeah.
I really wish we had more just straightforward conversation about where spirit cut is made. I think it's fascinating. So spirit on at 74.8%, off at 58.3. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny reading that wide cut that they talk about makes me think of Tobermory and they talk about their wide cut. And when I nose this, I got that sort of heavy, earthy meets minerality
Yeah.
quality on the nose, right?
Yeah, it's also got me looking over the other two samples on the sheet and seeing what the width of that cut looks like. So
Yeah.
we'll compare and contrast as we go along.
Hmm.
But we do have some peated malt in here.
Yeah, that's a good point too. That could be adding to the overall.
Right,
Not
right.
could be. It is adding to the overall experience. And right. And so those are the two different malts. You've got your Gladfield Distiller's malt and Gladfield peated malt, though it doesn't really specify how much peated malt versus unpeated malt or
Correct.
the ppm on the malt either.
Yep.
So that's a bit of a mystery here.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I like the way that fruit is manifesting on the nose. Like it has that kind of gentle warmth that I get from things like fruit cocktail syrup, right?
Interesting.
Already observing the glass and seeing the oils in there
Mm-hmm.
to then get a weightiness on the nose was very pleasing. The
Yeah,
grain's present too.
it's more like a crystallized ginger meets like a Christmas fruit cake, that sort of
Mm,
heavier kind of
mm.
weightiness going on, that sweet, like that sweetened bread, right? Sweetened like candied fruits, right?
Yep,
Inside
I'm with
that
you.
fruit cake. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. It's really nice on the nose, really inviting. What was the ABV on this one?
So coming in at 42, so a very
Huh.
Jess's favorite word, accessible strength on that,
Oh,
right? 42 is a
yeah.
pleasing wee sipper. I'm actually quite glad that there's oils on the glass at 42%, but then also
Yeah.
that bit of texture on the nose at 42 as well. I've been
Yeah.
sipping it as we've been going without really focusing on it, just refreshing the palate as we've been introducing it.
Yeah, for our viewers, I don't know. Hopefully, you can see those oils. I mean, really massive oils. I don't know, if this is coming off of that diogesic,
Yeah, diogesic, I think. The
diogesic
still shape.
still, right? Yeah, the
Yeah,
really odd
geodesic. What are you saying?
geodesic.
Yeah.
Hey, geodesic. Hi.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, real straightforward. Like again, the fruit is still there on the palate. I think some of that crystallized component you were talking about comes the crystallized fruits you were talking about
Mm.
comes through on the palate there.
Ooh. Oh, that's nice. Oh, I like this. Really light. It's like it comes in sort of. It comes in earthy, but then it quickly switches over to sort of light and fruity. Like really quickly, mid
Mhm.
palate, it transitions over.
Yeah, actually makes me think of I would say Christmas time. It's probably when she made them the most, but she made them all through the year. But my nana, my grandmother's fruitcake, where it had that little kind of dark exterior. And as you
Mm.
bit through that, you got a little bit of that earthy, that bitter. And then you got
Yeah,
the cake, and then you got
yeah.
the fruits. Feels a little bit like that journey with
Mm.
my nana's fruitcake. I was just thinking about my nana's fruitcake this weekend as well, thinking about making a recipe for myself. But
Ooh, I like that.
and then go back to the nose. I think it really sweetens up on the nose as well. Takes on
Oh
some of that
yeah,
fruitcake characteristic on the nose as well.
yeah. Which makes me think that the peat here has nothing to do with smoke.
Yeah.
This is adding dimension. There really isn't smoke here. This is adding facets of earthy sweetness and nothing more. Even people who are scared of smoke will not
Oh,
get smoke in
yeah.
this. No.
Yeah. I think if you poured that for someone and didn't tell them what was in there, they may just put it down to some of the barrel influence.
Yeah. 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 Good point.
It's nicely framed, though. I like the way that works. I'm going to
Yeah.
save a little bit of this in my glass for a little compare and contrast uh, with the second one, which actually doesn't have any peat in it.
Can I ask you a quick question
Yeah,
for
go
you?
for it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
At 42%,
Yeah,
and knowing that we typically start drinking at 46%,
yeah.
Are you missing 4% drinking this?
I am a little bit, but I think it's a bit of a selfish answer. Like, I'm very aware that if you've got 46 in other parts of your lineup, it's okay to have a part of your lineup that's even softer than that. Like, for you and me, 46 is the entry point, right? That's where you start. But you and I aren't everybody. And for some people discovering this, 42 might seem like a lot for them, right? They might prefer a 40.
Very good point.
You know, and so would I have liked a bit more infinite? Yeah, always. That's who I am. It's what my palate goes looking for. I will say it feels like a bit of a dangerous wee drinker. And I think if I was introducing that to somebody of a late afternoon or an early evening, I think if it was late afternoon, I may pour a couple of them. I think it goes down very easy. Your experience?
Yeah, so same. I would like a little more oomph going on, but I don't think the lower ABV I don't think the whiskey is suffering in any way from nose to palate to finish from the lower ABV. I think it's telling a really nice story. I think it's got really nice texture, which is something that we always look for. And like you said, it's kind of dangerous. It's an easy little drinker, which is nice. But I would like that. I'm looking for a little more grip, which is just what we look for. But it's not suffering from that lower ABV in any way. Where some whiskeys I think do suffer from a lower ABV.
Yeah, and I would say if actions speak louder than words, I just poured a little more into my glass so that I can move from dyad, quartet, back into Cirrus 2.
All right. Ooh, look at the color. I mean, I know we're not color guys, but look at the color on that dyad. This is dyad quartet.
Yeah, almost the color's almost like a warm walnut. The wood as opposed to the nut itself.
Yeah, I like that. You want to read the details on this one?
Yeah, 46% ABV, ale and distiller's malt is an interesting one on that. Distilled 2018, bottled 2025, so from this year. The barrel sequence, it calls it, is Chardonnay, Port, Muscat, and another round of that Apera sherry that we discussed on the first one. I feel like I'm cheating on the yeast. It's DV18/EC1118. Like, I feel like that was right in your wheelhouse, and I
could have done that one. That one I could have done.
Whereas our Cirrus 2 was a 5-day fermentation, this is a 7-day fermentation, and we're going to have the spirit run between 76%, which is higher than the first, but finishing at 68, which is 10 percentage points higher than the cutoff for Cirrus. So,
wow,
pretty good there. Yeah, 76 to 68% alcohol spirit cut.
And did you mention the ABV on the wash?
I didn't. I was moving on.
Could you though?
Yeah, 8.27 instead of 7.7.
So that's interesting, right? Well, that makes sense, right? You've got a longer fermentation time. It gives the yeast a longer amount of time to increase the ABV.
Yeah, 1%. I was neither here nor there. I thought the spirit cut was much more interesting than that marginal detail.
I think everything is important, Jason.
It's actually half a percent. It goes from 7.7 to 8.27 or 8.2.
I will never forget a quote that I think it was not Tal. It was Tomer from M&H told me that Jim Swan had said mouthfeel starts in mashing.
And I don't think we're disagreeing. Yeah.
Right. And so my point is that every little detail is important. So I wanted to know that.
Right. Moving on. So palate.
You son of a bitch.
Glad we got to spend time on that. Thank God podcasts don't have to be entertaining in 2025. So right away for me, the nose is carrying much more of that barrel content influence, right? The fact that we're sitting here saying Chardonnay, Port, Muscat, and this Apera sherry. There's a lot of parts there, and I think there's a rich, unctuous sweetness for me coming through on this nose.
Yeah, without a doubt, there's a sweetness to it, and I'm glad the Chardonnay was mentioned, because there was a particular note in here that reminded me a little bit of the old Glenmurray 10-year-old Chardonnay, that sort of bright, rich, sort of syrupy kind of sweetness going on. The palate has this sort of light dusted chocolate kind of quality going on, which reminds me a little bit of our own backwoods rye, right? Is this just straight? Did you mention the barley? Is there chocolate malt in this at all?
No, that's where we started. Ale and distiller's malt.
Malt.
So
I thought you were saying yeast. Okay.
So if there's ale and distiller's malt, ale malt, is that a catch-all term for some of those different Lovibond scale malts that are present in here? Like, I don't have the answer for you from what they say. I did want to reiterate as well, bottled at 46% alcohol. So a few percentage points up from the 42 where we started.
Oh, wow. What a different experience. Huh. Yeah. Oh, I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's got a weight to the fruit that goes across the palate as well. Pleasingly drying a little bit of, and I think you were saying about this a moment ago with the dusty chocolate in there, but there's a bit of that dark chocolate or baking chocolate in here.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah,
I'm really sitting with that. That's got like a sherry, and apologies if this is offensive to people in the world of world single malt, but I think it's got a bit of the sherried space cider about it.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I think you and I don't meet on that point.
Like, I think it's got the weight, it's got the heft, it's got that bit of chocolate running through it, it's got the heavy fruit that I would expect.
Yeah, but that sort of dusty chocolate quality is something I rarely find in a space cider, in a Scotch whiskey. Like, sometimes you get that dusty quality coming through in a Bladnoch.
But only in bourbon. I don't get it in sherry Bladnochs.
Exactly. And when it comes to Bladnoch, that's typically the style of Bladnoch I don't like, but I like it in this whiskey. So it's it's working here.
For me, it's not so much dusty chocolate. It is much more baker's chocolate. Or dark chocolate, which, and I'm speaking in generalities. I'll be more specific since this is our podcast. But if you'd given this to me and said this was kind of a, somewhere around a 12-year-old Glendronach, I wouldn't have been surprised. Glendronach for me sometimes has a bright fruit backbone that stands up against some of the heavy sherry maturation that you used there.
Yeah, okay. I can see that.
That's where, maybe even if you said the 15, not because I'm necessarily getting the age, but in the 15 Glendronach, I get a bit more of the fruit coming through. So I'm only making the palate comparison.
Yeah.
That's really well done. Really well put together.
Yeah. Well, last thing I'll say about this on the nose, last November, we were in Scotland.
I thought you were going to say last Christmas I gave you my heart.
The very next day,
gave it away.
Last November. last November, you, me, Jess, and Swede Scott were all together, and Swede Scott had given us a bunch of different licorice things. And he had given me one that you didn't like, but I loved. And it was these sort of licorice infused dates.
Oh, that was March of this year.
Oh, was that March? It was
Yeah.
last March. You gave me your heart.
Last Easter, you gave me a chocolate bunny. The very next day, you bit its ears off.
I couldn't hear you after that. And
Yeah. Those licorice dates were, not to my liking.
I'm getting a hint of that, just right, but it's not together, right? I'm getting the dates, I'm getting the licorice, I'm getting them separately, but it's reminding me of that experience of getting those and saying, "Ooh, this is going to be an interesting combination." It was a combination you didn't like. It was one that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
Here they're not together, but it brought me back to that time, is what I'm saying.
And you are not getting the saltiness.
I am getting a little bit of a saltiness. You are getting saltiness. Yeah,
cool.
A little bit of a saltiness. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, which I quite like.
Just wanted to confirm that note.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's interesting. Two very different whiskeys.
Oh, yeah. I went ahead and poured the third there, but
all right. So
you're pouring the third, I'm gonna.
So a reminder for those playing at home, either listening or watching, we started off with the Cirrus 2, which was the 42%, both peated and unpeated malt. And then we went with the Dyad Quartet, unpeated, which had 4 different cask types: Muscat, Chardonnay, the Apera, Sherry, and the Port. And then now we're going to the Dyad Peat and Muscat. And so my guess is this is all matured in Muscat casks. Is that? I haven't looked at the details, so I'll let you correct
me.
The
barrel sequence is first fill bourbon and Muscat.
There you go. Okay. Okay. And 46%.
Yep. And then this is showing peated malt, Gladfield, New Zealand. Yeah, this is a 2020 distillation on this, so the youngest of the bunch, and then bottled in 2025.
Okay. Yeah, this has it's much more aggressive on the nose compared to the Cirrus. Like where the Cirrus was distilled in 2017, bottled in 2024. This is 2020, so you got 3 fewer years in cask. So it's got a bit more fight to it, right? Yeah, I kind of like that.
Yeah, it had the nose on it had like a little bit of a like a bedding straw kind of note for me.
Like you'd put down for like in a horse barn or something like that,
or like a smaller, like a rabbit or a hamster or something like that.
Okay.
More kind of around the house. Okay. Yeah, it's interesting as I'm kind of looking around here, and please forgive me, I'm having an issue between the 8 and the 0 in the font. The 8 is just like a wee scoosh more hugged in at the center. But whereas we started with the DV18 Saccharomyces cerevisiae, we're now on the EC 1118 Saccharomyces cerevisiae. However, I think the dyad that we had is a combination of both of these yeasts that we're having. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So the dyad quartet was a combo yeast.
Okay. God, I love this. This is
off a little bit.
All the geekery one could ask for.
And for those scoring at home like Joshua, the wash ABV has risen to 8.66%.
Thank you, Jason.
For that little beer. So
thank you. There's some happy German out there listening to this saying, "Yeah, he mentioned the ABV. Yeah,
He can complete a spreadsheet. There you go. I'm here
exactly.
making dreams come true.
Yeah, he just
This is also 7-day fermentation, like the Dyad Quartet, and then the spirit run turns on at 73.5, so lower than the Cirrus 2,
okay.
but then shuts off at 68.8, which almost matches the Dyad Quartet. So
Really high cut on that.
yeah,
Yeah,
on both of those two.
yeah, yeah.
But then they're
yeah.
starting this one a little lower. There it is. There's a
Yeah.
little bit of the clove and the allspice coming in on the nose.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, God, do you remember growing up in the 90s as a teen? Well, not as a teen, I guess, right? As a 20-something, were all the girls smoking clove cigarettes in Scotland?
To
Because
be
they
clear,
were over here in
1990,
America.
I was 16. To be clear.
Well, yeah, well, so was I. Well, no,
To be clear.
I was 17. To be clear, to be fair. But okay, through the 90s.
No, in Maybole, Ayrshire, the girls were smoking what we call cigarettes. It was the real deal. There was no menthol, there was no clove. They were straight up cigarettes. And
Yeah, well,
those are the young ladies I was not allowed to hang around with. They were bad
okay.
influences.
Well, they were smoking cigarettes around my parts too. You know what it was? I think it's once they got into college. That's what it is. Once they
Right.
get into college, then it's the clove cigarettes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever that experience is.
I'm just saying. I'm just curious.
Right.
All right. Did you taste already? I'm going to taste.
I've never in my life met somebody smoking a clove cigarette.
Really?
Yeah. Which college was this happening at?
Yale?
But you left after the first semester. Am I remembering that correctly?
I couldn't afford the first day. I couldn't afford the first 15 minutes of the first class. But I hung out where all the Yaleys were.
If you told me in 1954 all the Yaleys were smoking clove cigarettes, I would sign off on that.
They were smoking reefer. It was reefer madness.
I saw that on Indiana Jones.
I would really love for the listeners and viewers to write in if you were around during the 90s, around college time. Let me know if people, male or female, were partaking in the clove cigarettes. And if you were, let us know what your experience was of the clove cigarettes.
And when we get an N of 1, Joshua will say, case proven.
Haida used to smoke clove cigarettes.
There's the N of 1. I knew it was lurking around somewhere.
Pinky up. Thank you very much.
Representing the number 1. So talk to us about Muscat. What should we expect from the Muscat grape?
Right, Muscat wine. It's right. There's two different Muscats. There's a Muscat dessert wine, but there's also a Muscat sherry, if I'm not mistaken. We've used a Muscat cask for our 28-year-old Cambus. Remember that? It was 6 months in a Muscat cask. So there's Muscat and there's Moscato.
And Muscatel.
Right? And Muscatel is right. It's part of that Muscat grape, right? So it's a sweeter grape, typically a sweeter wine. So we should be getting that sort of light sweetness coming through. I remember our notes on the Cambus was sort of red currant, strawberries and cream kind of notes coming through.
Was that the one where Sweet Scott was getting the candy floss, the cotton candy?
Maybe. I honestly don't know. You could also argue rhubarb, but without the bitter coming through. The sweetness, the flavor of the rhubarb, but without the bite, right?
Gotcha.
Which is interesting.
Go ahead.
Well, I just want to say, I get the sweetness across the palate, but then I get the grain. It's full on grain on the nose, right? And then the palate, the sweetness really comes through.
The comment I was going to make is this is the first one I feel like it's holding back. And it could be the 5 years on this one. It might need a little more from the cask. It might need a little more time. I find myself returning to the Dyad Quartet, which I thought was really very present. And I think the abundance of cask influence there is really pleasing to me. And I notice again, we've got the crossover. The Muscat is one element of the Dyad Quartet. And here's the Muscat with the Dyad Peat and Muscat entry here.
Oh, wow. This is the I've got my nose in the quartet, and it's gotten sweeter, but there's also this there's this sense of walking into a church. You got this frankincense sort of quality coming in as well. You've got the wooden pews in there. That's really, really nice. That's opening up quite nicely.
Yeah, very nicely.
And I'm thankful for that. That's really nice. I want to let the peat and muscat open up a little bit. I think this one may benefit from a little oxygen.
Yeah, even in returning to it, I'm still getting that grain component, and I definitely want a bit more of the cask in there. Speaking of age, are we going to do the bonus item as part of this episode?
Yeah. So for our viewers can see this, but I will read it here. The good folks, Mark and team at Waiheke, sent us a barrel sample of peated spirit. It's only 14 months of age. From a first fill bourbon barrel. It's 44% alcohol. And Jason, can you explain the details of this sample and why they sent this over to us?
So from Joshua holding up the tasting mat, you'll see that Fairlight, the international blend, is mentioned. And instead, we've got the preview. So, it's a little bit of a peek behind the curtain for us here, a little sense of where the new stills, the new geodesic stills, may be taking their spirit. So after running down that lineup, I'm excited to have this little peek here into new stills, but new stills produced in the same shape. I know you said you were going to mention it later. I would recommend the listeners go back and revisit season 6, episode 25, and give Mark and Colin was on that recording as well. Go back and give it a full listen. Listen to the people making this spirit. They tell their story better than we ever can. It's why we give them the floor when it comes to One Nation Under Whiskey. So go back and give that a listen. Explore the geodesic.
I can't remember on that episode. Did we confirm that Mark Izzard is related to Eddie Izzard?
I think that was the first item of business.
I think that was it.
I think we made sure to lay that to bed for the listener.
Wow.
That's really... See, it's so interesting to me. When I get to the 5-year-old, I want more wood influence. When I put my nose in the 14-month-old, I'm like, yes, there's the spirit. That's what I want. That's what I like. And so I almost feel like by the time you start softening the spirit with wood, you need to put something else in its place. If you want to just let the spirit shine through in a 14-month sample, that spirit can do plenty of heavy lifting for itself here.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's the muscat, right? Maybe the muscat's pulling my nose in another direction on that peat and muscat.
Yeah, that could be. It could be.
Because this fresh bourbon is doing exactly what I like.
Yeah. So So yeah, 14 months peated spirit, first fill bourbon. There's the liquid, the new make. It's got what you would expect, that sweet pear note coming through. However, it's got this kind of like bruised strawberry note lying underneath it, which I really like.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, that's pretty.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I haven't tasted it yet.
I'm just thinking of two Kilchoman new spirit guys who would love this. Travis and Jared, who are all over those new spirit releases.
Travis Williams, Jared Card.
Would love this. They would absolutely love this. Oh gosh, and it's so expressive across the palate, so juicy. Oh gosh, drying to the front and then much juicier to the back. Oh my gosh.
Oh wow. Oh, that is so interesting. Isn't that an unusual experience where you have it drying to the front and then it gets juicy to the back? Oh, there's a lovely sort of barrel char note up on the front. And that's so perfect. It's barrel char up on the front and all fruit on the back.
Maybe even a little bit salt on this too. Oh my gosh. When Jason goes silent with a 14-month-old peated spirit.
Are we certain this is only 44%? Because it's got more bite to it, right?
Yeah, I've got 44% written in multiple places. I feel like it is 44%, but I was asking myself the same question.
I feel like I may need an ABV-ometer for this, because it feels a little higher in ABV.
Yeah, it's also got that clove component,
right? Yeah, it's so funny. There is this like bruised strawberry note beneath the pear. I don't get it on the palate, but it's so nice. And then damp barley, which you'd expect, right? It's pretty close to new make.
A little nutty, almost like a little cashew quality going on in there. A little buttery, perhaps from the 14 months in the first fill bourbon, also potentially coming from the spirit itself. If this is the direction that this spirit is heading in with these, we did get a note about Derek and his team at Speyside Copperworks in Elgin. If this is the way these new stills are going to go, made to the same specifications as the originals, but that's doing really fun, cool things.
Yeah. I agree with you. B, quite often we talk about flavors building, excuse me, but we have texture building here. That dryness, that upfront dryness starts, at least for my palate, starts to go away, and the juiciness of the spirit, the oily quality of the spirit starts to take over the overall experience here, which I really like. That's interesting.
Yeah, love the texture on this. Absolutely love it.
Really, really nice.
Yeah, power to them. If that's the way forward, I like it. I approve.
So we did this with the Tormore. We asked about favorites.
Yeah,
and then we created a blend. So I want to hear favorites, and then I would love to create a little blend, and I'd love to know what your blend would be.
Oh gosh, I see that feels improper. Ollie at least sent us the components of his single malt. This is like official releases from them. The thing I would say is I really like all the fruit on the Dyad Quartet, and then conversely, I just love the way the peated spirit manifests in the 14-month-old peated. If I was going to do anything for funsies, it would be adding a little bit of the 14-month peated and fresh bourbon to the Dyad Quartet in its Chardonnay, Muscat, Port. There's one I'm missing here, and Apera Sherry. It would be adding a little bit of that, because then I'd be putting a little bit of peat into the one that has no peat in it. So.
Okay.
And you?
Yeah, I think I would do the same. I think I would want a little bit of peat in that quartet,
Just for funsies. No, because it's missing it. Just for funsies.
So I may do that, but I have a clear favorite. My clear favorite, Jason, is the Cirrus too.
Oh, interesting. There you go.
Yeah.
That cheeky little late afternoon drinker.
Yeah, I think it's I really love the ride that it took, that nose palate finish. I love the way it delivered the flavors. I loved that it was easy. You know, that has a time and a place, has a really nice depth of flavor. Not that the others don't, but I just loved what it was doing. And coming back to it, after the peat, it really hasn't lost its qualities on the nose. I haven't gone back to taste, but the nose remains, solid. Yeah, obviously the palate is much lighter than it was, but the flavors are still there, right? It's become much easier to drink. Much easier to drink.
Well, and it was already easy to drink, so we talked about it being a little bit sneaky.
Yeah.
My final comment before we start getting out of here is, you and I talked about this when we were setting up, what order do we want to taste this in? We looked at the 42%, we looked at the 46%. Going from 42 to 46 didn't feel like we were making really any change at all.
No.
Going even from the 44% cask sample back to the 42 feels a lot softer on the palate, a lot more gentle there. And so that has really surprised me in going backwards here.
Yeah, I guess it shows you just how much heavy lifting those casks do to soften and round out that spirit.
Ooh. That was fun. Yeah. Thanks so much to them for sending us samples. I'm over the moon to be tasting for the first time here. Power to them.
That's so funny. I completely forgot that you didn't have the samples. So I'm glad you finally got to taste their whiskeys, Jason.
Here I am today. Here I am again on my own. Right.
Like a drifter I was born. Now I feel like I need to do the whole Tawny Catan writhing on a car just for you, Jason.
I would look at the clock on the wall and say, unfortunately, Joshua, we're out of time. Another tight 35 has come and gone.
It has.
With 4 really fun and interesting samples. How lucky are we that we get to taste whiskey from, Waiheke Island,
right
off of the North Island of New Zealand. This is good. This is a good life. I need to remember this is a good life.
Yeah. Stop complaining so much. It's a good life, Jason.
I know. Can't help myself. Anyway. Yeah. All right, let's wrap this up so I can get back to complaining.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you as always. Thank you first and foremost to Mark Izzard and the team. I actually want to thank Colin Mayers, the pluralized Mayers, because he reached out to us to make sure that our addresses were still accurate. He's still in contact with the good people at Waiheke. So thank you to Colin for reaching out. It's always nice to connect with him. And to Mark Izzard and the team and their diogesic stills, we thank them for making delicious geo. Why am I saying diogesic?
Not sure. Don't know.
Because I want to roll the die. Because it's like a right.
20-sided still.
Yeah, it's a 20-sided still. Geodesic.
Just geodesic.
Geodesic. And then of course to our listeners and to our viewers, and if you're a listener who hasn't viewed, come and view us. Come check us out. Come to YouTube. We are here for your viewing pleasure. And if you come here, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. Look at that. We even have banners that instruct you to do as such. And once you do subscribe to us, you can tick a little bell that's somewhere below this little rectangle where you see our shining faces, and that will alert you of new episodes where we have One Nation Under Whiskey, and we do tasting videos and stuff like that. And who knows what else we're going to be adding here on the YouTube. We don't know, but we may be adding stuff. Who knows? The last thing that I want to say, Jason, last episode we had the wonderful Tom Nemerkin write in. And occasionally we get a number of other people writing. Actually, we get a lot of people writing in. And so I want to urge other people to write in so we can read them here on the podcast.
Nothing better than reading an email.
Right. So please write in questions. No, don't do that yet because we still don't have that email set up.
Coming soon.
info@singlecastnation.com. And send those questions our way, especially if you used to smoke clove cigarettes in the 90s or knew someone in college who did. Or if you happen to watch Kenny Rogers' Six Pack. And I know, Jason, you probably haven't watched that yet, have you?
I have not, no. But now that fall is upon us, I set a tight 35-minute timer for my stew on my stove. So I'm going to go and make sure that it hasn't boiled down to nothing and burned to a charred mess.
All right. Well, cheers.
Yeah. Happy fall. Lashana Tova.
Happy fall. Shana Tova.